Hello, Anima-saurus world, and thank you for joining me again on Anima-saurus interviews. Today, I'm very lucky to have with me a really good friend of mine, Andrew Silke. So, thanks for joining me today, Andrew.
Hey guys.
Um, so we're going to be talking about today quite a few different things, but to start off, for anyone who hasn't met Andrew before, he's been around the industry for a very long time and he's done so many varied sort of things. So I'll hand it over to you, Andrew. Can you just fill the guys in who have never talked to you before, who you are and what you've done?
Who I are and what I've done. Okay, well,
Yeah.
probably the best things I'm sort of known for is working on features. So I worked on Avatar and Harry Potter and Gravity, and I worked on these big things. But I also worked in games for a while at Chrome Studios and good old Brizzy, and and a lot of different places. So I think I calculated I worked for like 30 companies.
Oh,
Like
wow. Okay.
if you include my little freelance gigs that only last 2 weeks sometimes.
Wow. Okay.
So I've got a real breadth of experience. Only one games company, but like a lot of commercials companies and Weta, Framestore, and Weta and Animalogic are the
Yep.
big sort of post production places I've worked. Um, and I've got a range of skills. Usually I'm an animator slash previs artist. Probably I lean a little bit more towards previs because that's my personal choice, but I do a bit of both in those areas. But then I people also know me as a rigger and doing a fair bit of modeling these days. Someone said that I'm a modeler the other day. I was introduced as a modeler, so I was
All
like,
right.
oh really? And I write a lot of scripts now, so I do a lot of Python and
Oh.
as you'll see in Zootles and teaching. So I do teaching
Yeah.
and yeah, so I'm like a real all-rounder, character specialist, but all-rounder within that sort of
Would, would,
domain.
would you say a generalist or would you prefer?
Definitely, I'm a generalist. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely, character generalist.
Character generalist. Yeah, because that like I said, it's a huge breadth of stuff which you've touched on. Because I know the way that I got to meet you was through Cane Toads as well, which was the first your
Yes,
short film, which was like must seem a lifetime ago.
that's what I'm known for in Queensland.
Yeah, Queensland only.
Yeah,
um,
g'day, mate. Yep.
yeah, because you did then lean in, after all that. When did you start actually looking at like building or coming up with the idea about create 3D characters? Because
Yeah, yeah.
that sort of
That's a
developed,
good
didn't it?
that's a good story because I came out of working on these big films, right? I worked on Gravity and then back on Happy Feet 2. And I think on Happy Feet 2 was the film that kind of broke me, but I was already kind of checking out already by then. I think like it's very hard to explain to people who are just starting out in the industry what the industry is exactly. But
Yep.
like I was someone who sort of went through 10 years of working on awesome stuff, and then I just got a little bit, I guess you could say I accurately got a little bit bored
Ah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
of the specialist role and doing the same thing all the time. And there is an element of creativity that you have as an artist, and you want to do your own thing all the time. And I definitely fall into that category, as I think most artists do. However, I just sort of made the choice that I wanted to, you know, go into a bit more indie stuff
Ah,
and
yeah.
pursue that way. And a good opportunity for that was I actually took a year off work, like a full year, and went to the beach and learnt surfing. And I've done that twice. The other time I did the Gorilla CG website
Oh,
stuff, which is a blast from the past as well. And I learnt the drums
oh,
in
cool.
that year. So in my
Nice.
second year, I learnt surfing. And
Where did you do that to? Did you actually just do that in Sydney, or did you take off somewhere to actually learn to surf?
I happen to live at Bondi Beach, so
Ah,
that's a bit
that.
of a stereotype. Yeah,
Yep.
stereotypical Aussie.
Yep. Down on the beach, take the board down there, off you
Yeah.
go.
Now, the good interesting thing about surfing for a year and doing other things like whatever you want, and I wasn't really on the computer at all, but about 6 months into that, I got like sucked back onto the computer again, and it came just up one day, and I was just like, oh, I just feel like loading up Maya again, and I hadn't touched it for 6 months, and and then I loaded up, and I was like, it gave me a little buzz, like more than the surfing did actually,
Oh,
and and I was just like, oh, I like this. What can I do? And I needed some pocket money at the time. So I just said, oh, I'll teach some people for, one-on-one classes, like let's call it like a piano teacher. And then got stuck into it that way, and then started teaching people just for, some pocket money to keep my rent paid.
Oh, and it just sort of developed from that. So it just started off as just a bit, real bit of a side hustle, basically.
That's right. I always planned to go back to the industry to make my money. But then I kind of like the teaching, and I was like, oh, I like this teaching. And then I found out that you can teach at universities and the pay is quite good. Like, it's not as good as I was making in the industry, but I enjoyed it.
Yep.
And so I started doing that. And then off the back of that, both the uni work and my private students, is I started doing videos. So, they just can't remember stuff that you teach in class, right? It's too much.
Typical student, you just go, oh, I knew something, and I've seen it once.
Yeah, and
you just want to prod someone. Where do I go to actually find this tool you mentioned?
exactly. So and YouTube was just kicking off with the tutorials. Not kicking off, but it had been going for a while, but it was certainly like very easy to upload to YouTube at that point, and the internet was fast enough. So I just started downloading these crappy videos, and they had like the birds tweeting in the background of Bondi and me like talking, and it was really lo-fi.
Yeah.
But the students really loved it, and I put them on YouTube, and they kind of kicked off, and I started getting a lot of followers on YouTube. And then I was like, I went and sold them one time. I was like, well, I'll put all these other ones, because I didn't put them all on YouTube. I just put a fair few. And I said, well, I'll sell these ones if anyone wants them. And then suddenly I made, $5,000. And I was like, way, there's some money in this.
Yeah, right.
And
Cool.
that's how the website started, yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it did start off on YouTube. That was the place you started off on before.
Andrew Silke. So if you go to the Andrew Silke channel, that was all my original stuff, and you can hear the birds tweeting in the background.
Right.
And Create 3D Characters was my rebrand of that YouTube channel, and that was a mistake because I lost all my subscribers. So
had to start again from scratch.
Yeah. Nowadays you can rebrand. They've changed the rules, but back then
You couldn't.
Yeah. And so my Andrew Silke channel still has more. It has a lot more content, so it's actually got more followers than my Create 3D Characters one. Oh, they're about the same now.
Yeah, but I mean, your original Andrew Silke one probably wasn't just dedicated to education stuff, like your education videos. Did you have more stuff on it rather than just them as well?
Well, I had my show reel and my couple of things that I'd done.
Yeah.
But I like Cane Toad and stuff like that. But mostly it was purely tutorials.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Mostly. If you go to it, you look at it, it's like mostly just my shoots from 2013 to 2015.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there was a good couple of years there where you were just kind of playing away with just putting stuff up there.
And it was particularly easy because like I just did it for my students and
you only had a small handful of students at that point. It was just slowly growing. Yeah.
But I tell you what, like turning it into a real website was a lot harder than what I thought. Like once you start stepping up the quality and like actually trying to teach properly and switching it over, and you don't have students, like it's actually people who don't know you. I found that very difficult. I think it's because of the breadth of stuff that I teach.
Yeah, and I know from you as well, taking it from just YouTube, which was just a long line of videos, tutorials, to actually then organizing it so that someone can just jump in blindly and go, okay, here's the introduction, then I need to go to this one, then I go to this one. So the organization behind it, and the structure which you got to put in place, as well as the tech that goes on, because I know you were telling me as well.
So that was stage 3, yeah. So I know stage 1 is I was teaching privately. Stage 2 is I jumped into the universities and did them both. Stage 3, I started doing the videos and uploaded them to YouTube. Stage 4 is maybe the website started, and I actually started trying to sell the tutorials on the website with a subscription. And then stage 5 is now Zoo Tools. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, so we're somewhere about stage 4 when you started planning things out and going to the website and how you structured the website. Yeah. How did you go with promoting the website then? Were you actually doing any promotions? Were you running ads or anything with it, or was that just word of mouth?
Yeah. Well, I had 15,000 subscribers on Facebook back when Facebook was good, and that really took off, and that was awesome. But Facebook slowly over the years has clamped down on that. And it sort of moved over to Instagram, and I missed that boat. So I've got to get back on the Instagram bandwagon and do that. So a lot of it was just viral sales, but I found probably YouTube was giving me the most, point the YouTube videos to Create 3D Characters. That's probably one of the best advertising revenue ways of doing my site. But But also, I guess I did do Facebook ads with big stuff, and I
Yeah.
did a couple of YouTube ads as well. But like, I never really fully committed to the advertising part of it, and it's
Yeah.
kind of just it's kind of motoring along now.
Yeah.
Uh, but I've got to
You,
get some more YouTube shoots out once
right.
once Zoo 2 comes out properly.
Yes, yeah, properly. Because you're still in the development stage of that, aren't you? It's getting close
Yes.
to the end of. Yeah, because I mean, the Zoo
Yeah.
Tools thing
Yeah.
itself, story for itself, is quite a great story as well. You know, it kind of runs along completely separate to what you've done with Create 3D. So, for
Yes.
anyone who's never heard
Yes.
of what Zoo Tools is or how it came about, you want to
Mhm.
just fill us in on the background of that?
Well, Zoo Tools goes back to Hamish Mackenzie. Who did you ever meet Hamish?
I never actually got to meet Hamish, but I knew his tools.
Yeah, he was at THQ, so he was probably maybe working with your man for that you interviewed last time.
Yep.
And but anyway, Hamish then went over to America and he worked at DNA and Valve. Valve makes Half-Life and Steam, um, and probably all the newer games that I'm not I'm not so up to date on. Uh, anyway, so he was a rigger at Valve really, and then he always had his side pack of tools that he gave out for free, and a lot of guys do this, and Hamish was one of them. But he was probably one of the first people that did a big set of tools and then gave it away for free. So long story short, I teamed up with Hamish, but then Hamish got out of the industry. He found out he could make more money from programming and blowing up, real rocks.
Oh, cool.
He worked for mining companies and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
last I heard. I don't know what he's doing now, but he writes his own software and stuff. So he just wanted, a little bit more control, and he found the VFX industry is quite tough for programmers, in many ways. And he just said, "Oh, look, we were going to release them together as a team." And then he said, "Look, I'm out, but the tools are useless for me because I don't even open up Maya anymore. So you can just have them."
Yep.
And at that stage, we'd done a little bit of work that wasn't in the free pack, and we were always thinking of switching it commercial. And then he said, "Do you know how much work this is?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "It's so much work, man." and I went, "All right, whatevs."
What?
And then so Hamish went away, and I couldn't understand his code because I wasn't a good programmer back then.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
I took it to my mate at Animal Logic, Dave Sparrow, who had emailed me. He was kind of interested. I said, "Dude, can you understand this code?" And he said, "Yeah, man." And I said, "Well, do you want it? I'll go your halves." Is how that works. So now it's Dave and me, and the new Zootools 2 is really not Hamish at all.
Okay.
So we've built it from scratch. It really doesn't have any Hamish code in it, or very little.
Yep.
We've completely rebuilt it, and it's taken about 3 years. So
Yeah.
Hamish was correct. and but it's like really uber now. And I've hired another programmer, Keen. So there's 3 of us in the team.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it's turned into a full-length production now. Like you said, 3 years for development to
Yes.
basically completely rework it.
Yeah.
So
to
it's
write
a completely new.
to write it from scratch, basically. But
Yeah,
we definitely keep Hamish's ideas in the background. We kept the name, because it's Zoo Tool. So everyone's like, "Why do you call it Zoo?" Well, it's a suite of little animals, and it's got a rigor at its core, which isn't out yet. But it's about building animals in a way,
Oh, right.
building characters, and each
Yep.
tool is like a different animal in a way. So it's a modular tools framework. So what that means is there's a lot of tools. It's got infinite amount of tools that you can do for it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's not just a single thing that does one thing. It's a suite of tools that can do a lot of different things. Just depends on what you need.
That's right. And
Yep.
at the moment, it's just for Maya, but theoretically, we can port it to other programs like Blender or Houdini or 3ds Max or Cinema 4D. That's kind of like because Dave, who's behind it, it's worth saying that Dave is like a pipeline TD/rigger. So he's very technical. And I'm like the artist /TD/ can code a little bit. So we sort of come together in, he's the ultra tech and I'm the art. And then we meet kind of halfway.
Yep. Yeah, you've kind of been able to nut out something that's both useful for you to use as a final end product, but also useful to be able to plug into something, into a pipeline so that it can travel.
That's right. And that's what Dave's really focused on. So it's really built for pipelines in companies.
Ooh.
At its core, it's not really supposed to be just like a set of tools. It's supposed to be used in a company environment. And to someone who's one of my students, they don't care, right? You just install it the same. But the back end of it is built so that it can be added to.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that's quite unique because a lot of tools and especially a lot of the tools I see animators using, they're always got to individually put it into Maya and it comes up as a shelf and it's just individual tool that'll just work in Maya. Although you're just like, wow, I wish you could use it in more places.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to build a tool that works in all software. So
Yeah.
the way that we've done it is we want like a modular framework of code so that you can build a tool in any program. Um, yeah, and so it's a bit like we use a lot of Qt, which is what the UI is built on. So we've make it very easy to add nice looking UIs easily, like with a couple of lines of code, rather than if you use Qt for real, which is what a lot of people do in Maya these days. It's you got to be pretty hardcore. You got to do it for a job.
Yep. Yeah, cool. Yeah, because that's one thing. Like out of everything that I've seen of it, which I will show everyone what ZooTools can do shortly. But one of the things is it does look very it's got a nice interface to it and it's very user friendly to look at and actually use.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Maya's a bit in the past because it's like years old and they've got to keep updating it. Whereas once you get into Qt, which is the code that we're using, you can do whatever you want. Now, it doesn't mean that it's easy, as we've found out. It's quite hard to do a lot of this stuff, but it does give you like you're doing proper UI code,
Yep.
so you can do almost whatever you want in a way.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
in a way.
Yeah.
It's just how much money do you have to spend on it? Yeah.
Yep, yep. Well, I guess this was one thing that we really wanted to do. So if you want to fire it up and actually just show off a few things which you
Sure.
have been kind of building on.
Sure. So I will
We can always
switch.
edit around this to see how badly it works.
All right. So here we are in ZooTools. It's an executable installer. So if you're on PC, you just double click and it installs. Load it up and the shelf will appear. And then it's like a lot of tools. So each one of these guys is a tool. Some of these are actually just functions. Like there's only 2 tools in that one. But there's a lot of stuff in here. And I've just accidentally opened it. But this is the image plane tool. It seemed to want to open that one. So I'm doing a rhinoceros at the moment. So this is building image planes. So you just double click and you can put them in different parts of the screen. That's in that corner. Yeah, and then you can move them left and right and fade up and down. So we've got a lot of browsers. Each of these has like an info section that you can put tags and stuff into. I won't go too much into that one, but like, for example, your face is over on my second monitor, Keen, here. Sorry, Kim. And yep. Keen is my programmer who I always talk on Skype to. That's like bad habits. Takes snapshot. So I've got this snapshot tool. This is a screen grabber. Yep. So if we were to, I have to do this on the second monitor, so I'll do this off screen, and I've taken a snapshot of what I'm seeing of your face. And it's now there, and we double click, and it's in Maya.
And now it's on an image. Oh wow, that's really that's really good for like reference images. If you're searching through something like Google and come up with a reference image, and it's just you can snapshot it and put it straight into Maya.
Yeah, and we could give you a tag of Kim, yeah, and then we tag it. We just say, well, this one's an image, yeah, there, and then we can close that. And then in the search, when you search for Kim, you've got
the tag and.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can save your own and like you've got change folders and do all this kind of stuff. And the browsers will evolve. But another way of looking at the browser, which is a bit more showy, is the asset library. So this is model assets here. These are all the assets that you can use. And we've got a lot of different ways of interfacing. So this tool sets is kind of like a big part of ZooTools. It's not ZooTools, it's just one part of ZooTools, but it's where all our tools currently are. And you click on the icon. This is like a mini shelf that's in the assets shelf, which is really all of those. Yeah, or just those.
Right, okay. Yep.
And so you click on that, and then now you've got your assets. So if we want to build, say, let's demo in Arnold. Why not? So it supports 3 different renderers, Arnold, Redshift, and RenderMan. And then we just scroll down and build, say, Natalie. And she's there, yeah. And then now we can come across and build like light presets. So I'm kind of an advanced user. So if you middle click on this, I know icons, I've memorized them. So that's the light presets there. And you can just drag it off to form another one. We can also double click, which is quite cool to get them out of the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah, minimizes them. Yep.
Yeah, and now we can just like double click to build the light setups. So now in Arnold, we can hit render and it will start to render that. Obviously, Arnold's a little bit slower than Redshift, but you can see how that's working, yeah. And then we just double click to have another, and it instantly deletes the lights and rebuilds them to
Wow.
be whatever you want. And we've got a lot of presets for Nat, so we just type Nat, and then, these are the sort of presets that suit her.
Suit that model which you've brought in.
Yeah, that's right. So you can sort of see that there. And Arnold's quite good in the viewport these days. It's pretty fancy. But then you could come back to the assets and double click, and we've got this one here, and this one is by my student Bailey. Just wait for that to replace. So there you go. So that's just actually deleted Natalie and then imported in this asset. This one is by my student Bailey, but Anton is the actual original 2D concept artist, so you can go and see what his work is there. We've got like walks. So this is a walk cycle, say, for this robo character here, and we've got Zanzi Kim.
Oh, wow. He's still in here.
Yeah, so Zanzi's still there. So this is actually Kim's character, everybody. Kim's design. And so he's in there. And then we're moving on now, and this is one I've just created. But we've got like, the statue of David and stuff like that. So you can type in here, David. This is free stuff off the web. This is all royalty-free scans. And so you can see what David looks like in there. And then come back, and then like there's a watch. The watch looks quite cool. This is a free watch by Chavez, I think. Yep, from memory. There we go.
You've got the information all there on the side about who's done it, where it's come from.
Now you can type watch. So these are pre-built, light setups that I've built, but you can add your own and do a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, so for a studio, if they've got a light setup for a scene, that'll just always be there. They could bring it in for each scene or each shot they're actually working from. So.
And I found this really useful myself. So like you build like a new model, and then you can try it out in different renderers, or in different scenes to see how the lights react to the surfaces and stuff like that.
Yep. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I guess the only other one is this is by Paul. This is a new one we'll have in the pack that's not quite out yet, but it's a bit heavy. It's I think
it's a bit bigger model.
Yeah, so this is this cool sculpt of a crab man that Paul's done. Like I've got my favorite light setups that I call pick. So I just type pick and it sort of limits them to like the better light presets. So just double click on that one.
Yep. It's really nice too. I mean, I'm just watching in your outliner each time you're bringing something in. It's not like it's filling up your outline with anything. It's all nicely just tucked away in a underneath a group. So
that's it. So you can see this nice crab creature that Paul's donated for us there. So there's lots of assets, lots of different things. We've got also Macbeth charts and things like that. So you can put that in. Now Macbeth charts is a prop, right? So it won't delete. So what happens is when you double click, it'll replace by type.
Right.
And then up here you've got the type that it is. So this is a prop, whereas these ones are hero models.
Oh, okay.
So it replaces by type. That's how that works. Yeah. And then of course we've got lots of other things like this is really for the whole pipeline. So it's just what kind of whatever I need to teach, whatever I think is cool and we need. It's got an advanced mode for each UI and a compact mode. And this is just a shader manager, but we've also got like a shader browser. So you could just select, this crab guy, and then these are all the different things, and just double click.
And it'll throw the shader straight on, which is...
Yeah, it's changing all the attributes of the shader. Yeah, like that. So we could get like a car paint or something on him.
Really quickly.
Yeah, like a shiny one, yeah. And then if you don't need that, now we can tweak all the values here and change the specular color to like red and make it red car paint or something.
Yeah, so it's not just a preset. You can quickly drop a preset on, but even after that, you can still tweak it a little bit more with all the settings you've got inside the menu. So.
Exactly. Like it's kind of like we're just making like little UIs that are very targeted at a Maya thing. So another one would be, say, this light, edit lights. This just means like I can grab all the lights in the scene and then, make it brighter. And if you hold shift, it goes faster. So, or we could dim it right down, and or you could rotate the IBL light, or you could rotate the entire lights group. So that's like rotating the lights around if we make it a bit brighter. changes like the lights.
Oh,
Now, if you're in Redshift, that'll update really quickly in
yeah, but
Arnold.
it's just rotating it like what 15 degrees with each click of the button.
Yeah, that's right. 15 degrees, you got it. And but then we've got UIs for each light as well. So I guess this comes back to, you're seeing it as being completely separate from Create 3D characters, whereas what I've always imagined is that this is part of the teaching process. So
Ah, right. Yep.
so Kim's a teacher, he knows this. When you're teaching, say, light, an area light. So here we've got a whole bunch of area lights in the scene. They're over here in this group. You can select it and you can have a look at those attributes in Maya's attribute editor. But to a beginner looking at this, it's really hard to find things and know what's important.
Yeah, there's a long list of attributes. Maya just gives you access to everything, and it's like half of the things you look at, you go, I got no idea what any
Any of that
particular
stuff
thing's going to
does.
do.
That's right. So what we do in our UIs is we just say, well, you just need these things to start with. You can still tweak all this stuff. This is not, we don't, it's not a plugin. So anything that you save is vanilla Maya. It's not, you don't need our plugin to load it up on another box. But then if you want the extra things, we just give you the added things and we take out everything that you don't need. And this works the same for all renderers. So you can switch to any renderer and all the settings will work in each renderer.
Which is pretty amazing because renderers now there is more than one render. It used to be you just had Mental Ray and that was it, or your default hardware renderer. But
Yeah,
now
that's
there
right.
is now there is more renderers which they do give you different results. So
That's right. So if I go to this convert renderer button, like we've only got certain things supported at the moment, but this scene should convert. So we go from Arnold, and then we can convert it to Redshift and convert that. Redshift isn't loaded, so it's just got to load the plugin, which will take a little bit of time. And then once it's loaded the plugin, it'll convert the scene, hopefully, into Redshift. So there you go. And that says it's completed. So now I can go, hey, I'll set just this to be small, like 540 by 540, and then we can render in the IPR of Redshift. So we've just converted that whole scene, hopefully, over to Redshift, yeah. So it's a big model. There you go.
it's all and
Uh,
that. Wow. Okay, so that's actually converted all of the texture, the texture you did have apply, all the lights that were in there, all to being able to now then be rendered from a different renderer.
That's right. And it'll depend on what it supports. It supports only certain textures and it only supports certain light types and things like that. But yeah,
Wow. Okay.
so then we can come here back into the light presets and it's the same UI and it's now in Redshift and not in Arnold.
Not in Arnold.
That looks quite cool on that model, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
that's
I love Redshift because it's fast and you can grade and do all this stuff, but it doesn't have a viewport yet. So I like to put on like color controls and then grade it, make it look pretty.
yeah. I
Um,
haven't I haven't played with Redshift that much. I know I've been on productions which are rendered out of Redshift, and I can see what it does, but I actually haven't touched it.
yeah, that's right. It's just a fast GPU renderer, and I've got 4 GPUs that you might hear heating up soon. Um, and yeah, so we'll switch that back, say, and then this is how you use Zootools. You come in and then you can middle click if you're a guru at it. You don't have to do this. You can right click and you've got a search.
Oh, and
So
it gives you the name as well as
so
the
you can search
icon.
for shader and then you bring up whichever tool that you want. And then in the preset, say, I could search for, I've got some sculpt shaders. It's just a little bit ZBrushy in the way that they work. So we're just putting a sculpting shader on him and we can try him out in a few different settings. And then you could give him like a color, and that's way too bright. So dim him down. And you could just very quickly do things with Zootools.
Yeah. And you just haven't really dropped out of your Zootool interface either. It's just all under that. You haven't had to close it
Yeah,
down or open another window. It's just
that's
all
right.
in that.
And you can though, like this is the thing. So at the moment, the workflow is, and we may change this in the future, but if you double click that, that's now kind of minimized. So if you come across here back to let's do a new tool like the control builder, control creator. So that will open the control creator in a new window.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You still got the
Where
old one.
Yeah, whereas if you just like go control builder now here, then And we're going to have rigging tools and animation tools, and like we've got UV tools, and we've got cloth tools, camera tools. So we're going to have a lot. We already have a lot. There's already over 40 tools in there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
32, I think at the moment. But so I just dragged that out, but we could drag it back in again, and then close that one. So you can have this always like
Like a floating menu.
yeah, and I actually prefer not to dock it because you just close it like that and then continue to work because you will be using Maya, of course you will, and then this is just an appendage to Maya that makes it a bit easier.
Yep.
You can minimize it like that and then get back to work and zoom up and see what you do looks like close up and tweak those things. And yeah, I guess the only other thing is to get a bit of a comprehension about how the tools work is that we do have like a preferences window, which is a bit empty at the moment, but like you can change all your theme colors. We've got different, these are all where the assets are stored for each set of tools. And then we've got a hotkey editor as well. So, this is built to be big.
Okay.
So you can change your hotkeys, and we've got hotkey overrides and a lot of other things. But I guess the fact that you've got different settings for each tool, and that this tool, like you can have like hundreds of tools, and this list will just get longer. And you can obviously have more settings in here, which we'll add as we go. And that's like the theme colors. So I guess like the preferences window shows that it ties everything together, and you can then as a studio have multiple shelves, and then it's really easy to manage your tools in the back end. Like, so what ZooTools does is all your code can be in different places, and then it grabs it all and puts it in one.
So it collects it all and actually keeps it housed in the one spot.
That's right. And when you do reloads and things like this, it'll close all the windows for you. It's keeping track of what the tools are doing. So you can throw information from this guy into another window. An example of that would be like, these are actually separate tools, like the edit controls say, or let's just go to the color overrides. So color overrides can change like your colors of your outliner and controls and wireframes.
Wow.
So here we've got two separate tools. And now I can change the color here, and you'll notice the color changes in the other one. So
yep.
All the tools are kind of aware of each other.
Oh, wow.
As well. And then there's just a huge amount of framework code, so you can build things in one line for TDs. So that's where the TD part comes into there. And we do have an auto rigger coming. I can't really demo this at the moment, it's in parts. But this is Hive, our auto rigger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you build a rig and then you double click and that will build a rig part, and then you've got options for the leg component, and then you can click and it's a modular rigger.
Oh wow, okay, cool. So that one's in process of being developed still.
That one's certainly not being released yet, but that's kind of like our big tool at the moment. It's been in production, it's been in development for over 2 years. It's got its own API. Dave's written it all in API 2 code, which just technically means it's Uber.
It just works faster.
Well, it does. Like the rigs build in a couple of seconds rather than, like it's super fast.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, there is so much actually packaged away or hidden away inside your Zoo tools. Like when I was using it was only like a collection of half a dozen tools. But like you said, completely rewritten now, completely updated.
That's right. Yeah.
It's fucking amazing for everything that they actually do. So.
Yeah, there's going to be tons. I mean, we've got 32 tools at the moment, but I think in my head I've got about 100, and that's just like what happens when you build a tool. You think of another one. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah, when you start using them, it's going, I just want something else that just does this. It's really hard to limit then what you need.
Yeah, and it's about making Maya easier. At the end of the day, it's really just about, you can see how easy it is to build a quick light setup. So if you didn't have your model there, so we can grab the model assets browser and just delete him. So that's removed all his shaders and everything from the scene. There's our little rig that we've built. You could have your other model in there, and then in a couple of clicks, you've got it looking nice and spinning. Because there's this, do you remember this, Kim, with the
turntable?
Like it's a nightmare getting students just to do turntables.
Yeah.
one click when they're not used to animation. They're just modeling all day. So here's the thing:
Yep.
select your group, turntable, and it's turntabling.
You got the camera circling around the whole thing with a nice shader on it, and you go, well, there's a presentation of what I just modeled.
That's right.
And
so
it looks good.
We've got Nat in here, and then we just select her, and then you can select her group node, and then you just go turntable selected, and now she's turntabling. Yeah, it's like literally that easy. And
single
so it's about
click.
single click stuff. Oh, so this is Arnold, so it's not going to work because we're in Redshift. So you'd have to load that up, fire that up again. Yeah, and it's a bit bright for her. So then you can be spinning her around. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us, Andrew. It looks like it's growing. Like you said, it's a tool set that is still in development, but it is growing, and it's nearly to the point of, what was it, version 2?
Yep. I mean, it's version 2. It's been out for 6 months in beta, so we haven't released it publicly.
Yep.
But people have been using it for over 6 months now, and it's now up to 32 tools, and we're ready for a public release. So it's kind of coming out of beta now.
Yep.
I guess you'd say.
When are you thinking? What's your timeline for actually releasing it?
As soon as possible. I'm basically, the code is done. It's ready. So it's just a matter of me now switching on to making videos and doing like this Rhino. I'm building a Rhino for the promotion, and it's just a ton of work, and I have to then get into all the tutorials. So
yeah, show people how to use it as well, so it's
right.
actually user friendly.
That's right. You do have to actually show people how to use this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing because we're a training site, so we are very focused on training for this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It will be easy to use. Yeah.
Like you said, you're a professional user. You've used it more than once. You know where all the buttons are and how to make it work. But yeah, actually getting someone who's never used it before to go, okay, where's the pop-up? I need the pop-up for what this icon actually means for doing it.
Yeah, and on every tool there's a question mark. So you click on the question mark, that'll take you straight to the HTML help page for it. Yep. And then you basically watch a short video and you've got the tool. But it is it's going to be big, right? So it's hard to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still very exciting to see when it comes out. So awesome. All right. Thank you very much for having a bit of a chat with us and showing us what you've been up to. I hope everyone gets something out of that. Like you said, Create 3D Characters is Andrew's Facebook page. If you ever want to catch him and chat to him, I'm sure he'd love to hear from you.
That's right. It's create3dcharacters.com. Just go there and you can see the webpage too.
Awesome. I'll have a link for that down in the description as well. So
and the tools are just $10 at the moment. So that's going to change. It's going to change very soon. But if you get on now, $10 and you can keep the tools forever.
Oh, that is awesome.
A little bit of information there.
Yep. A little bit of insider trading. All right. Well, thank you very much. And until the next time we're actually talking to someone else, see you later.
Sweet.